Hey guys, I just got back from the woods and I did a Transcending video for you guys. Gage and I went for a big walk and I talked about giving myself up to a higher power. That was the point of this video. And I talked about little miracles and coincidences and things happening in my life, and that's why I wanted to try this, almost as an experiment. And I just came home, I finished rendering the movie, I worked on it for an hour, and then I thought, I have time before dinner, I want to read the next chapter in The Road Less Traveled and Beyond, which is the third book in Dr. Peck's series. And I need to read this to you guys because keep in mind, when you watch the following video, I had not read this yet, okay? So I just want to read a couple of paragraphs to you guys. So it is utterly natural that we should fear death and everything that begins to become a reminder of death. There are two ways to deal with that fear, the common way and the smart way. The common way is to put it out of our mind, limit our awareness of it, and try not to think about it. The smart way is to face death as early as possible. In doing so, we can realize something really rather simple. That is, insofar as we can overcome our narcissism, we can overcome our fear of death. For people who learn to do this, the prospect of death becomes a magnificent stimulus for their psychological and spiritual growth. Since I am going to die anyway, they think, what is the point of preserving this attachment I have to my silly old self? And so they set forth on a journey towards selflessness. It is not an easy journey, but what a worthwhile journey it is. Because the further we proceed in diminishing our narcissism, our self-centeredness, and sense of self-importance, the more we discover ourselves becoming not only less fearful of death, but also less fearful of life. And this is the basis for learning to become more loving. No longer burdened by the need to constantly protect and defend ourselves, we are able to lift our eyes off ourselves and truly recognize others. And we begin to experience a sustained, underlying sense of happiness that we have never experienced before as we become progressively more self-forgetful and hence more able to remember God and notice her in the details of life. Is that not an amazing little coincidence right there? I just did a video trying to succinctly say that and couldn't say that. And then I open up my book and there's the first page that I read. Enjoy the video, guys. Hey guys, Gary, Unfrequented World, Mr. Gage with me out on the trails today. We're just going for a really nice walk, actually. It's raining, believe it or not. We went from -30 2 days ago to -20 yesterday to +5 and rain today. I don't know what's going on with this planet, but I'll tell you what, Transcending Gary is not going to worry about it. I want to remind you guys to pay attention to how you feel and what makes you feel good. Because that's the most important thing that I'm finding going through my spiritual growth spurt here, is to actually be in the moment. So when you're in the moment right here, whether it's walking in the forest or whether it's meditating in the morning or saying an evening prayer, whatever it is, you're in the moment and you need to analyze, what am I thinking, what am I feeling? What makes me happy? What do I want out of this life? And you need to think about it, as I stated earlier, in one of two ways. We're either going to go on afterwards and carry this learning with us into some spiritual form, or we're not, and it's not going to matter. So what matters is making yourself feel good and being the best person you can be while you're here. This video is you're going to see cuts from all over the trail because I've said many things and they're all in the wrong order. I will organize my thoughts more cohesively. I just find that when I come out here and I take a walk and I do it in the here and now with you guys, I say the things that I really mean to say, right? I don't want to script anything because it doesn't need to be scripted. I know what I'm trying to communicate in this video, and it's going to come out in little bits and spurts and pieces all through this trail, so you don't pay attention to the background. I will splice it into a cohesive story for you guys. You know, I woke up and I was just thinking about, I knew this extreme was coming because they were calling for rain a couple of days ago, and they said today it was going to rain. They knew that. And it got me just thinking about, you know, the tilt of the earth, essentially, right? The earth is rotating around the sun, And just the 19-degree tilt of the Earth is enough to cause our seasons. If you think about how precise this planet has to be positioned for life to occur here, it blows my mind. You know, the outside of the planet is X amount degrees colder than the inside. And if the Earth were, you know, one full Earth position outwards, we probably wouldn't have the life that we have here. I think about these things. I wonder. I worry. I guess where I'm going with this is Scientific Gary, who you guys know I've had a spiritual awakening and growth over the last couple of years, leans more to creationism than evolutionism. I think there's a tie there still somehow. There's a connection. Things are made to evolve here, but I suspect that things are made by a higher source. And I feel I'm part of that with the whole spiritual awakening series that we've done. I feel connected to that. I feel more open to that idea that there is one great source, and things like the positioning of the Earth kind of reinforce that to me, right? The ultimate satisfaction for Gary, for me being here, is not the furthering of a company or the bottom line of a company, you know, or even my own bottom line, right? It's not all about, you know, financial success or just being the best of the best in your industry. All of that stuff kind of lost value to me when I realized, you know, I sat down and I thought about, what does Gary want? Gary wants adventure. Gary wants happiness. Gary wants love. Gary wants to share love. Gary wants to share adventure. These are all the things I want. You know, I have a whole list of things that I want to enjoy, accomplish, see, share, spread. You know, these are all things that intangible in a way, right? Like my bank account isn't going to grow by doing these things. There isn't something I can measure. I can't measure my level of happiness. I just know what makes me feel good and makes me feel right inside. And it's little things like taking the dog out for a walk and watching his joy at rolling around in the snow. You know, that's one of those intangible things that I realize that is more important than many things, you know, the degrees hanging on my wall. Yes, I worked hard to get those. Yes, there are things that you should try to accomplish in your life. But, you know, once you've got 3 degrees hanging on the wall, it's probably not necessary to go back and get a 4th. You know, you've proven you can do these things. You've spent your time in the trenches. You've learned. I believe everyone should go to school and should stick it out, accomplish something like that in their life. Unless you completely feel that that's not your calling and you know what you want to do. I feel I've never known what I've wanted to do. I feel I've always chased after what society or other people have said is important. So part of my dealing with anxiety in a new way is to stop chasing goals and ideals that I don't feel make me a better person. If it's a financial-based thing, then I'm not interested at this point. If it's a political-based thing, that's an iffy thing too, because we change, right? Our ideals change. Anyone who is tied to one political party their entire life are not open-minded, free-thinking people, right? The Democratic Party of today is not the Democratic Party it was 40 years ago. The Liberal Party of today is not the Liberal Party it was 40 years ago. The Republican Party of today, etc., right? And you will have people who are diehard Republican, but, you know, when you first became a Republican, they had different ideals and things than they do now. So what are you defending, right? You have to be fluid. You have to be willing to change your mindset, question yourself all the time, and not just in politics, in every facet of life. And this is part of my growing and evolving spirituality, is to realize change is inevitable and you should embrace it. And one of the things that I'm trying to do, I keep starting to tell you guys what I'm going to do and not telling you, is I'm giving myself up to a higher power. Okay? 10 years ago, I was said there is no such thing as a higher power. Slowly over time and over incidences and strange things happening in my life and grace of God, we've talked about on the channel, which is also in the book, The Road Less Traveled, where he defines the grace of God. coincidences and things that happen that shouldn't happen. So all these things happen to us, and we have to look for the small miracles. And when you see them, you begin to realize, you begin to change, you begin to spiritually awaken. And that's the process that has happened to me. So I thought logically the next step for Gary is to give myself over to this higher power. I have always been a go-getter. I have always worked at least one, if not two, sometimes three jobs at the same time, because I try to stay busy. I try to help society. I try to do, pad my bank account, whatever the case is. I've been very busy. Try to do it for the right reasons, but hey. So what I'm doing now is I'm not chasing anymore. I feel my entire life has been spent doing some great things, great causes, environmental stuff. I've kind of weaved 3 diplomas into what Gary is, and what Gary should have been was a conservation officer. That would have been my ideal job. I was actually scheduled to go into school to do that. I listened to other people. When I was 18, I had some uncles and friends of my dad's and other older people that I respected tell me, no, this isn't a good place to go because there won't be jobs, there's no stability, there's this, there's that, the other. And they gave me all the reasons and excuses why they didn't do what they wanted to do, and I fell into that trap, and I never did pursue that dream. I feel like I have always chased something. I don't know what. I've always forced it, tried to force it, right? And I'm not going to do that anymore. Gary, moving forward, is going to do one thing. I'm going to concentrate on adventure, fun, and opening myself up spiritually to these coincidences and little miracles. Okay, that's what I'm concentrating on right now. I am making myself available to the universe and whatever greater power there is out there to drop something in my lap, to point me in a new direction for the next workable 40 years of my life. I feel like I still could contribute here for many years to come. If you're an intelligent, well-educated person who has life experience, you can do anything. You can go anywhere. But I don't want to chase it. I don't want to force it. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't want to force it. I want the universe. If this is real, if we are all here and we have a purpose, I've struggled mightily for 45 years to figure out what that purpose is. I don't want to struggle anymore. I want to just relax and say, come to me, whatever it is. And I'm waiting. I hope it does. And in the meantime, I'm going to pursue the small things. Adventure, fun, love, more community work. I may do some volunteering here shortly. I've got a couple of things I'm looking into. This would be the perfect day to make a snow fort. Yeah. Right here, I can feel the snow is so packy that we could... Oh God, I had to bend over. Ugh. Look at that. Snowballs aplenty. Snowballs for Mr. Gage. Doing is I'm not worrying so much about the grand scheme of things. For years, I've been one to worry about days like today, where it's raining in February, right? Coming from minus 30 to rain in one day. I would spend weeks worrying about, what is the state of the earth? I might do some research. I might read some papers. I'm not going to do that anymore. I can't solve all of the world's problems. And I've come to realize you just have to accept things the way they are. If there is a greater power and there is a plan, then everything has to be as it should be. And Gary is not going to change that in any way, shape, or form. Gary is here to learn and experience and share and do things that I can't do in a spiritual form, if that is the case. And if it's not the case, then Gary is just here as a biological creature who evolved scientific-based thinking here, and I've got one life, and I'm living it, and when it's done, it's done. And I don't need to worry about any of that stuff anyway. So the bottom line is, either way, I can't solve all the world's problems, and I shouldn't worry about them. Does that mean that I shouldn't try to be the best person I can be? Absolutely not, because I wouldn't feel good about myself. So I'm still going to try to be and do, the things that make Gary the best Gary. I'm just not going to worry about it along the way. Viewer out there watching that would disagree with the following statement. Doing nice things for other people makes you feel good inside. That's just an absolute truth. And part of making myself feel better is giving back to the community and helping other people, right? Whether it's through the teaching that I do, the videos I do for you guys, or just the interactions I have with other people in my community, my neighbors, my friends. I always try to find something that you can do for someone else every day that's going to make you feel a little bit better about yourself. That's not a selfish thing. I think that's the way the universe is supposed to be, right? We do something nice for other people and everyone involved feels fantastic about it. And that's just, you know, if everyone did that, if we all didn't get hung up on the negativity, right? And we were all doing this, just think of the circle, the chain effect that would have, the goodness, the glorious goodness that could be achieved by all of us doing nice things for each other. Not only would you feel good about yourself doing nice things for other people, they'd be doing nice things for you. You'd feel twice as good, right? So it's a never-ending circle of joy. You know what? I think we need to just be a lot more relaxed and open to what happens. And for me, the bottom line is, hey, we're all gonna die, and my mantra is, we're all gonna die someday, probably not today. That is actually one of my mantras that I get up and say to make myself feel better. Now, yes, when I turn 80, I'm gonna have to change that mantra to, we're all gonna die, I'm 80, it could be today, so make the best of today. I already have the next mantra planned out, right? So, I think mentality plays a huge, huge part. The biggest part. There is nothing bigger than your mental state. So if we spend time, waste time worrying about all this small stuff, we're not projecting positivity and the happiness and things that we really are after, right? We just have to take whatever circumstance we're in. I know this sounds cliche and silly. We have to make the best of it. And once your mindset gets onto that I'm always going to be open to the positive, I'm not going to let the negative things rule my life. Yes, I will think about them a little bit to avoid the simple things I know I can avoid. But the rest, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to give in to this greater power, to my greater self. I believe that, I think I probably chose to come here. And I feel I've been here more than once. And I feel that I need to stop worrying about it. This is all part of my spiritual growth thing that I don't know why I know those things. I know it. I don't believe it. I think I know it, right? I honestly think since I was a little kid, I've felt this. I know I've been here more than once. And I just have to accept that I can't change the big things and make the best of every day. It's taken me a couple of weeks of reaffirming that statement, right? Don't sweat the small stuff. And you have to be serious when you make that commitment to say, I'm really not going to worry about it. I'm a good person. I've done what I can to get to this point in my life. Please, if there is something that I'm supposed to do, make it known to me. And that's what I'm asking the universe. I don't want to chase false ideals anymore. And if there isn't anything dropped in my lap, you can darn bet the Gary is just going to enjoy everyday adventure, fun, relaxation. I'm going to play a video game when I want, not feel guilty about it. And Gage and I are going to spend the rest of the time romping in the woods. And I don't have to save planet Earth because that is not Gary's job. I want all of you guys to grow spiritually along with me. I want you to pay attention to small miracles, the grace of God. Not get worked up and worried, about all these small things that go on. So my back is still wonky. I've walked further than I thought I was going to be able to today. I did have a massage session this morning. That really helped a lot because I couldn't even tie my shoes this morning. I appreciate those of you who appreciate what I do. And I try to tell you guys that all the time. So once again, thanks for joining me. I enjoy all the comments you guys every morning gives me something to do for 20 minutes, right? I read all the comments, good, bad, and ugly. And I appreciate all of you. Stay tuned. There will be a real adventure coming at some point, as soon as my back feels a little better. Thanks for watching, guys.